going to move on to topic number 3. So what are the responsibilities do the employers have under OSHA? So you can see there's a lot of bullet points because in OSHA's point of view, you as the employer, you have the ultimate authority over what your employees do because you have the influence, you're paying their salary, and you're the one who is responsible for the regulatory uh, just safety and health of the workers through the OSHA Act. So you have to provide a workplace free from recognized hazards to comply with the OSHA standard. That's part of that 5A1 ruling. Provide training required by OSHA standards. Keep records of injury and illnesses. Provide medical exams when required by OSHA, and those are usually the type of highly hazardous chemicals that you can get exposed to, like the silica dust, the lead, the copper, hex chrome. Those are some things that you'll see. And you have to provide the medical exam, have to do the surveillance, and then also just if there's some more medical needs after the surveillance part, then you have to make sure you provide that for your workers. You can't discriminate against them if they exercise their own rights. You have to post OSHA citations and hazard correction notices once OSHA comes out, and if they do cite you, that post has to be immediately, and then you keep it up for 3 days or until it's abated, whatever the issue is. And then you must provide and pay for most PPE. There are exceptions, and if someone misuses their PPE or damages it intentionally, then you're not responsible for having to get that back. However, you have to provide the initial PPE as well as do a hazard assessment. A PPE hazard assessment is necessary under the OSHA rules as well. So those are some of the responsibilities that you have as an employer. So here's a little checklist of your responsibilities for reporting and recording. So if there is a workplace death, you have 8 hours to notify OSHA once you get that notice that there's a worker that has expired due to a work-related injury or fatality. Then you have 8 hours to let OSHA know. You have to report any work-related hospitalization, just one. It used to be 3, but one person gets hospitalized, you have to notify OSHA. One amputation or one loss of eye. Those 3 things are what's called a catastrophe. Those catastrophes you must notify OSHA within 24 hours of you receiving notification of those things happening. You have to inform your workers how to report an injury or illness, and it has to be in a way that is not going to deter them to report an injury or illness. So in that fact, if you have, let's say, a rule where someone has to report in person within 24 hours of an injury, or else you're not going to accept that. You're going to think they're just faking it. Well, what if the person is injured and incapacitated? They're in the actual emergency room or a hospital and they can't get to your physical location within 24 hours. You just created a rule that is going to affect that person's safety and health and their employment. Therefore, that is a rule that would be called a retaliatory action, and that could be a whistleblower violation. So you can't make those type of rules. You have to make sure their own records are available to them or their representative. You have to allow OSHA access to that records. If you refuse to, then they could get a warrant and come out and see that record. You have to post the annual summary of injuries. That's what I talked about in the previous message with summer, or basically spring, February 1st until April 30th. That summary only numbers of how many injuries, illnesses, days off you've had has to be reported in a place of high traffic.